Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students and my respected colleagues. On the request of one of my viewers, I am making a video on the topic of punctuation and its significance. As you all know that it is a very important thing which is called punctuation, but normally majority of the students take it for granted. They think that comma, full stop, these are very minute things, and the examiner, Cambridge examiner, is not going to bother about them. But let me tell you, my dear students, that as far as punctuation marks is concerned, this is something of utmost importance because Cambridge examiners have clearly mentioned in the writing assessment objectives several times that there is no compromise on three things. And number one, out of the three things is spellings, number two is punctuation, and number three is grammar. So therefore, my dear students, please listen to this video very effectively, very attentively, because I'm going to explain the different types of punctuation marks. And this is not just meant for 1, 1, 2, 3 or 0, 500 students. All the students, all the teachers, all the people who are taking any kind of writing exam, I am sure that this is going to be really beneficial for you. So let's achieve the accuracy of punctuation marks because there is no compromise by the Cambridge examiners on SPG. This is the topic which is least, you can say, attentive because many students don't pay heed to this. But now is the time to pay special attention to this topic. Therefore, my dear students, let's look at the different types of punctuation marks which are available in the English language. First of all, I want you to see their names with accurate spellings and also look at the shape of these punctuation marks. The first punctuation mark is full stop. I will be talking in detail about each one of them. The shape is quite distinct, but majority of the students in hurry they make the shape of full stop in such a way that it seems to be a comma. So the most important thing is that you should not merge the shape of one punctuation mark with that of another. And also you should know where to place a comma and where to place a full stop. We will be talking in detail about these in a few minutes. The next punctuation mark is semicolon. The shape is in front of you. There is a full stop and then there is a comma beneath it. Then there is colon, which has this shape of two full stops, one on the top of the other. Then the next punctuation mark is called brackets. This is also a punctuation mark. Next, we have ellipses, which is in the shape of three dots. These are called ellipses. Next, we have dash. Next, we have question mark. And the next, we have inverted commas, which are also called speech marks. Sometimes there are single inverted commas and sometimes we use double inverted commas. I will tell you where to use which. And the next is exclamation mark. And one punctuation mark which I would like to explain on my own at the end of the video, that will be apostrophe, that where to place apostrophe. Now let's start with the use of full stop. As you know that this is a punctuation mark which we use to end a sentence. Now you need to understand what is a sentence. Sentence means something which conveys a complete message, something which conveys a complete information. For example, you say, I have composed a video on the topic of punctuation marks. This is a sentence. Now, when I have communicated this, it means that I need to put a full stop. There are two requisites of a sentence. Number one, it should have a subject, and number two, it should have a verb. If these two requisites are there, it means that it is a sentence and it should be ended with a full stop. Now, the next question is that how often you should use a full stop. how often you should end a sentence, because at your level, if you are a senior grade student, either you are in O2 or IG2, or you are going to appear for any kind of competitive exam, the point that you need to keep clear in your mind is that the sentences should not end very often. It means that you are writing short jerky sentences. If you will place full stop after 3 to 4 words, because 3 to 4 word sentences are meant for junior grade students. When you say, I have a chair, it is made of wood, it is very nice, it has brown color, for example, these are childish sentences which are for grade 1, even for KG students, they can write such kind of sentences. So at your grade level, you must not end a sentence very often. Rather, the examiner demands that you should vary the type of sentences in the length as well as in type. Now, lengthwise variation means that you should have a variety of long and short sentences. Not that you are all the time writing very, very short or very, very long sentences. Rather, mix them. Why you need to do that? There will be a separate video on the topic of sentence structure where I will explain this thing more in more detail. But currently, I can just tell you that the requirement of Cambridge examiners in the writing assessment objective is that there should be variation of sentences. It means that long and short sentences with combined combination should be there in your answer, and not a series of short or a series of long sentences. So you have to use full stop when you have conveyed a complete and meaningful information. Neither too short nor too long. Cambridge expectation is variation. Variation they demand in two categories. Number one, length, and number two, type. Type means that they want you to start your sentences with adjectives or adverbs, and not every time with I and some boring, you can say, article like the. They don't want you to write such kind of sentences. So please use full stop carefully. Don't merge the shape of full stop with that of comma, because both of them have different purposes and you must not confuse them. Now, the second punctuation mark about which I would like to shed light is comma. This is a very common punctuation mark, but majority of the students use it just blindly. The reason why it is like that, because when they are reading some material, they don't give importance to punctuation marks. While reading, you need to note down very carefully where a full stop has been used, where a comma has been used, so that you can differentiate between their usage. But orally, I can tell you that comma is used when, because it sets off non-essential clauses. Now, what are non-essential clauses? It is a clause that provides additional information about the sentence. For example, I will be sharing an example, don't worry, but but is not essential to the meaning of that sentence. That is why it has been named non-essential, because it is not necessary to the clause. It just provides additional information. For example, the book, comma, which is no which is now the bestseller list, which is in the bestseller list, is a great read. There is a typing error in there. The book which is in the bestseller list is a great read. You can say that the book is a great read, but this non-essential clause. Now you see the comma has set off the non-essential clause. If this comma is not there, then you will read it. The book which is on in the bestseller list is a great. There will be confusion in the meaning of the sentence. So you need to understand when to place comma, because comma is a separator. If you will not place this separator, obviously there will be confusion in your sentences. And I'm going to share some funny sentences where comma is playing the role of life savior with you. So it also indicates pauses. For example, when you are mentioning a list of things that you are going to purchase, you can say, I had eggs, comma, cheese, and orange juice for breakfast. It will be ORANGE. I'm sorry for this typing error. Next, we have, I am going to the ceremony. This is the first clause, comma, but first I need to finish my reading project. Now, if I don't put a comma over here, just imagine what it will read like. I'm going to the ceremony, but we don't know when to take a pause. So, comma is essential over here as a separator. There are some funny examples when we missed the comma. You can see how ridiculous the situation can become. Let's eat, grandma. Now, there was no comma in this sentence, so it creates the impression as if, God forbid, grandma is going to be eaten. But now, when I have placed the comma, let's eat, it means that grandma is being invited for dinner or lunch. So, you see how important this comma is. It's playing the role of life savior. I invited my parents, Mr. Falbus and the Queen. Now you see, this sentence creates the impression as if Mr. Falbus and the Queen are the names of this person's parents. But when I played this comma, I invited my parents, comma, Mr. Falbus and the Queen. Now it creates the impression that parents are different persons. Mr. Falbus is another different person and Queen is a different person. So just imagine how confusing the sentence can be when you don't place a comma. Therefore, it is my humble request that don't misuse and don't skip the usage of comma in your sentences because they are of utmost importance. Moving on to the third punctuation mark, which is called semicolon. Semicolon is joined to independent. Where is it used? It is used to join two independent clauses. Now you need to understand what is an independent clause. I will be sharing examples. For example, when you say, I have a big test tomorrow, if I remove this full stop, then it is an independent clause. How did I know that this is an independent clause? Because I is the subject, I have is the verb, I have a big test tomorrow. It is a complete sentence. It is conveying complete information and complete message. Now, the next sentence is equally similar to the first one. I am studying all night to prepare for that test, Now, if I start two sentences very close to each other with I, obviously they will create a childish and a juvenile effect. So what I need to do is that I will join these two with the help of semicolon. Instead of using and or but or so again and again, we can skip these boring connectors with the help of semicolon. For example, let's look at this example. I have a big test tomorrow. Now, instead of this full stop, I have used this semicolon and I'm studying all night to prepare. There is now full stop and now it is one sentence. Now I want to clarify one thing more over here, that after semicolon there will be small letter. Now since it was just I which is used as a capital letter when it is written alone, so that is why there is I. Otherwise after semicolon there will not be capital letter because semicolon is meant to join the two independent clauses and make them into one sentence. So there should not be unnecessary capitalization in your sentences. Otherwise, that too will be a mistake. I hope this point is clear now. Coming to the fourth punctuation mark, which is called colon. The shape of colon is like this. Without the brackets, I'm just showing the shape to you. There is this dot and dot, one at the top of the other. What is the purpose of this punctuation mark? It introduces lists of things. It gives explanations or quotations. Now, I have given you examples for all the three categories. For example, the first usage is when we are making list of certain things. Three eatables are my most favorite. I use the colon. Now I'm going to tell the names of the three most favorite eatables. Number one, pizza, brownies, and Chinese rice. So you see, these are the names of the favorite eatables, and the colon has saved some of your words, has made the sentence mature, and it has created a good impact on the examiner that you can use punctuation mark effectively. In the same way, when you are explaining certain thing, for example, you say, I have a clear cut goal in my life. And what is that goal? You will not so say the goal is. Rather, you will just place colon and you will say to become an excellent teacher. So you see, colon has saved your words, created positive impression, and made the sentence mature. In the same way, my favorite book is colon, name of the book, 40 Rules of Love by Alif Shafak. And this is truly my favorite book. Now, introducing a quotation. The principal said, for example, when you want to give the quotation or the wording of some person, so you will use colon and you will say, our results are our priority. These were the wordings of the principal and we have placed them with the help of colon. So this is how in 3 different places you can use colon. The next punctuation mark is called brackets. This is also a punctuation mark, and where are you supposed to use them? Brackets are used in writing to provide additional information about something. For example, the company's mission is reflected in its policies. This can be a sentence, but I use the bracket in between and I explained the mission to provide excellent customer service. This was the mission which I put in bracket to give a reminder to the reader that what was the mission, and then remaining sentence came afterward that the company's mission is reflected in its policies. So let's look at some more examples of the usage of brackets. His mission, which was not explicitly mentioned, was not clear to me. Since the mission was not clearly mentioned, that is why it was not clear to the audience. So here the bracket was used. Please don't use any punctuation mark excessively. Even if it is full stop, even if it is bracket, they are just going to be sprinkled into your writing. Remember this point very clearly. And the next example is the city's population, according to the latest census, is approximately in millions. So you see, according to the latest in census was the additional information which was provided in this sentence, and this was written in the brackets. Now, the next punctuation mark is called ellipses. It is in the shape of 3 dots. Where it is used? It is used to indicate the omission of words. Omission means when you are missing some words or phrases or sentences from a text in order to suggest a pause. When you want to create a pause or trailing off. Trailing off also means dwindling or fading away in thought. When you want to give a pause and you want to create the impression as if the other person is now in the thinking process, so then you are going to use ellipses. Let's look at the examples. I'm not sure what to say. Now I don't know what to say, so I will use ellipses. It's just that I feel overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. Dash, dash, dash. This is not called dash. It is just ellipsis. I just read it like that so that I can make my message clear to you. Next example is it is also used to create the element of suspense. And then, just as I was about to leave, the door slammed shut. So, the element of suspense has been created. Remember that ellipsis is not a very formal punctuation mark because it is used at those places where some communication or where some conversation is taking place. So, this punctuation mark can be used when you are writing interview, when you are writing journal, or when you are writing informal letter. 3 types I have mentioned, but this is supposed to be avoided in report writing because report writing is very formal type. Even you should avoid it in formal letter. They also create a sense of informality or conversational tone. Therefore, use them in interview and avoid them in report, just as I have explained it to you. Avoid their excessive usage, otherwise your tone will be affected and it will become informal. So don't use ellipses, dot, dot, dot in excessively. You can use it in the narrative also, but only once or twice, not excessively. Now we have the next, you can say the next slide is about brackets. We have already done that. Ellipses also we have done. Now let's come to dash. This is also a punctuation mark. It is used to indicate a break in thought. When there is a pause or a break in thought or show a connection between words, break as well as connection. Now you see these are two opposite things. Let's see their examples. I was going to the market, but then I remembered I had forgotten my wallet. Now you see here it has been used to show a break, that the change of plan or the sudden idea that came into the mind that, oh, I forgot something important and I was going to the market. The teacher, now here it is making a connection. The teacher who had been teaching since 20 years dash was beloved by her students. Now you see here the dash has been used to create a connection between ideas. It can also be used to mention the time sequence. For example, the store is open Monday till Friday. Instead of till, you will say dash from 9 a.m. dash 5 p.m. So this is how dash will be used. The next punctuation mark is question mark. As you all know about the shape of question mark, you would have used it when you were making interrogative sentences in your junior grades. But in our grade level, in GCSE and IGCSE, for these students where this punctuation mark is supposed to be used, let's discuss it. It indicates that the sentence is a question mark or it is making interrogative statement. It can be used at the end of a direct question when you are making a direct question. For example, what is the name of university of your university? What are your future plans? You can ask this in speech writing when you are making a direct communication with your audience, asking about their well-being or asking about their whereabouts. But do not use a question make after question mark after an indirect question. For example, I wonder what time it is. Now here no punctuation mark of question mark is required, but you can use it very clearly after a rhetorical question that we use in speech writing, especially or when we are mentioning the purpose of magazine article or any other type. Rhetorical question is a question which does not have an answer. It is just meant to engage the audience. For example, you can say, how can you deny the significance of consistent practice before exams? So there will be a question mark at the end of rhetorical question. Now, inverted commas, they are also called speech marks. They are double as well as single. Let's see where are they supposed to be used. The thing which is required is consistency. If you started with the double inverted commas, end with double inverted commas. If you started with single, end with single. But there are some experts who also say that in British English, single inverted commas are used, whereas in American English, double inverted commas are used. But my rule, which I have clearly told to my students, is that maintain consistency. Don't change single into double or double into single. I don't know what to do, said Sarah. You see, after do, there will be comma, then inverted commas will be closed because inverted commas should be right at the end of the sentence when the other punctuation marks have been written. Let's ask for help, comma, then inverted commas will be closed. The teacher asked us to read a poem, comma, inverted commas, name of the poem, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Use single quotation marks for quotations within quotations. And if you are, for example, writing quotation within quotation, some message is being given within a message, then you will use single inverted commas and use indentation to indicate a new speaker in dialogue. Indentation means that whenever you are going to start a new sentence or a new dialogue, start it next to the margin, just as this slide has been made following the rule of indentation, that all the sentences are started next to the margin line. The next punctuation mark is exclamation mark. This is the shape of exclamation mark. It is used to show emotions or excitement, or even in situations of urgency, exclamation mark is used. Its excessive usage should be avoided in formal writings like formal letter and report. It can be used in journal writing, for informal letter, even in informal email, or interview writing. I have mentioned the types where this can be used. It can be used when you are showing your emotions in narrative essay. For example, I love this movie. What a beautiful sight. I am so excited to join the new working place. It can be used in headlines like breaking news, the exclamation mark. It can be used in dialogue. Wow, that's incredible. Use exclamation marks sparingly because they create a juvenile effect, it creates a conversational effect, it creates a colloquial effect, which should be avoided excessively in formal speech and formal writing. You should avoid using these punctuation marks too, especially I would say ellipses and exclamation marks are not supposed to be used in report writing because they will spoil your tone. At the beginning of the video, I promised you that I would talk about apostrophe also, where apostrophe is used. For example, you can say that when you are talking about the belonging or the possession of something. For example, you say students' notebooks. Now, students, it's a plural word. So, apostrophe will be played at the end of S and no S will be made afterward. Apostrophe is used for possession. And in the same way, if it is a singular student, then you will say a student's bag was misplaced. Now, after T, there will be apostrophe, then there will be S, and then the remaining sentence. My dear student, this was all with regard to punctuation marks. I'm sure that you will find it useful. Please don't ignore this thing because Cambridge examiners want accuracy in three things and punctuation mark is one of them. And I would be very happy if you people will mention some of the topics on which you want your videos, on which you want my videos before the exams. And I would be very happy to assist my students. Inshallah, very soon I will be making a very comprehensive video on the topic of sentence structure. Stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.